All right, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to the rest of our LTM run. It's been a little while. Obviously, if you haven't seen the last video, I was in a situation where I basically got everything stolen from me, and it meant that I was playing the rest of my games pretty much just on the Switch itself. I had no ability to record them, so that means I wasn't able to get videos for you all. I wasn't able to really do anything except just play the games. So now that it is many, many weeks later and around, I think this is the finals upload date, seems like the proper moment to, upload the rest of the run and show you all how far I was able to make it in the season. Who knows? Maybe we were able to snag our second championship of Generation 9. But I'm not alone because obviously I still don't have a laptop or means to record this in full. So I'm being very, very graciously joined here by my friend Gentleman Thomas, if you want to say hello.
I don't know. I've been doing like a little dance this entire time. I know they can't see it, but it's important to me.
It's important to me too because we're going to be here for quite a few games, and hopefully it's not going to be too rigorous. But ultimately, we're gonna be here for a couple games, and we'll see how far my season went. And and you'll be right here to help me sort of like look at the teams and commentate on the teams. So I'm just here kind of in my bed on my phone. You're sharing your screen with me, and we're gonna watch these games together, and I'm gonna show you the teams, and hopefully that'll be good. So yeah, we're starting with week 8 actually. If people don't remember, we ended like the end of week 7 in a win and in situation for playoffs, and we're taking on J-Scarf, who I actually didn't know until LTM.
Yeah, no, so I had played the J-Scarf in UMPL, so I did know a little bit about him. And he's a very, very talented player. I believe he also was playing in, I think it was DPL during the time of these games.
He was, and he had just been picked up in the mid-season for DPL, which is like, I think most people consider it one of the top, if not the top draft league out there in terms of competitiveness. And so, very tough competition. It's a win and in situation for him as well. And I believe the same week that we played this, he ended up like getting like a 6-0 in the DPL against a really strong opponent. So like the pressure's on, you know what I mean?
Like he went into this game feeling he could do anything.
Right, exactly. So the pressure's on. Like I've never, I very rarely don't make playoffs, which, subtle brag. So there was a lot of pressure to win this game. And I did actually record this on my laptop because I was able to record it, because this game happened before the theft. But obviously the video went alongside with the laptop. So that's okay. We're going to do this now. But if you look at the matchup, we're going to kind of just run through the matchups very quickly as humanly possible. So ultimately, like big things you notice about J-Scarf's team, the ground type is Sandy Shocks. For once, we have actually like a semi-decent Raikou matchup, which is cool. For that reason, I kind of expected like Terra Ground or Terra Electric Meloetta, although it could still be like Terra Normal with like offensive, since my normal resist is Copper. And then other than that, like I was kind of just expecting basically his top 6. Could potentially see the Dreadnought as well. I did a couple mocks against Dreadnought, and it was like kind of smoking my ass, which was quite scary. But ultimately, like flying resists aren't great. So Staraptor looks awesome. Electric resists aren't great. So Raikou looks awesome. And also, yeah, I think the other mon that I looked at this matchup that I thought had really, really strong matchup was Whimsicott. So you'll also be seeing that on the team, and T-Spikes also looked quite good here because there's no grounded poison unless it's neutralizing gas wheezing. So if you want to show the team, Thomas, that we brought.
So I immediately, when you look at the team, you go, okay, it's Bandit Staraptor, kind of, generic. It's like a boots, defensive blasters, I get it. But I also can't stop looking at that top left mon there, the Bestie, the Raikou. It's holding a very interesting item. You want to explain a little bit what went through your head with this?
Sure. So I originally just had leftovers on this Raikou. The Raikou was undergoing like a ton of different iterations. Like I was originally just going to be like substitute Calm Mind with Thunderbolt and Scald. I was thinking of being like substitute Protect with leftovers, but when I did a couple mocks for this game, I kind of just realized that the leftovers weren't that big of a factor. Like the games were going so fast paced anyways that it just didn't matter all too much. And the other thing with like subsets is that Meloetta's hyper voice goes through substitute.
Yeah.
So the idea was with throat chop was that I could throat chop the Meloetta and hopefully stop it from hyper voicing through my substitute. And if it's poison from toxic spikes with Gligar, then it's just going to constantly rack up chip, and I'm going to be able to sort of substall on it. It's going to be great. But you mentioned the mirror. That was a very last second addition because I did some mocks and Dreadnought absolutely destroyed my team. So I didn't really have a choice. I had other sort of like conditions for it, like I had Tailwind on the offensive Whimsicott, as well as like quick attack if it was in range of that. But there was so much pressure on defensive Blastoise, like it just wasn't able to deal with the Dreadnought on its own.
Yeah, like as I mentioned, quick attack and Star Out, even though it's resisted, if the Dreadnought is not wider to get its defenses back, that quick attack is gonna chip like a good bit. And you also have like you also have Aqua Jet on like Blaster, so you had decent priority. You really, I can tell now that I'm like really looking at this. You really prepare for that Dreadnought. Like
I was super scared of it. I was so scared of it.
There are so many mons here.
Like, yeah, I did not want to like lose out on playoffs to like some random like Shell Smasher in the back. So
I mean that is fair.
A lot of mons
I will say this as someone that is a big enjoyer of the mon. I feel like Cerulege is kind of strong here because I don't know if you want to get your Blastoise chipped that fast, and also by being heavy duty boots, you would pretty much always be preserved to Poltergeist, which is
so I think I had Citrus Berry at one point on the team, but I think I had to change to boots because I was afraid of opposing toxic spikes. So ideally, the idea with Cerulege was I'm probably never going to be able to hard wall it. Like I might be able to bring in Blastoise once or maybe twice and click Surf. I don't want to click Flip Turn because I don't want to trigger Weak Armor. But the good thing about Staraptor this matchup is it is a mon that so long as I don't proc Weak Armor, will outspeed and revenge the Cerulege and not be, susceptible to Shadow Sneak. So that was the other reason I really liked like Banded Staraptor, because even if the Cerulege was defensive or bulk up or something, like Banded Raptor is still revenging that shit so easily.
I mean, unfortunately, if he does get the weak armor, you are a little bit weak, which is kind of funny because you're not able to click quick attack on it. Like you have Aqua Jet on Stories definitely. But not having that banned quick attack could put you in a little bit of an issue, I think.
Yeah. So you're right. That's another tough one to deal with in the matchup. So let's see how it went. Let's take a look at the game. If we lose this, we're out. So it's gonna be a very short video if we lose. So let's see.
I mean, I'm being paid by the minutes. I don't mind if it goes long.
That's fair. Yeah, my bank accounts are going haywire right now. But yeah, so all of these games we're going to be viewing from all of these games. This might be the only game. Who knows? We're going to be viewing from the opponent's perspective because again, I wasn't able to get my side. But that also means that we get to see the opponent's items. So we get to see a little bit of insight into their thought process, which is quite exciting. So when you really look at this team that J-Square brought, like you're seeing like the Rocky Helmet Persian. So that's probably a Staraptor answer. You're seeing the Mental Herb Dreadnought. So you're probably seeing a Shell Smash set, but you probably are afraid of Encore Whimsicott, which is interesting. And then the other mon to take note of is the Meloetta, which I thought would come as like Assault Vest or defensive, but in this game, he disclosed to me that it was Terra Normal, which kind of confirmed to me that it would either be Specs or Scarf. Which,
because he's just here to click Terra Normal Hyper Voices, pretty much.
Oh my god, yeah, and that's one of my bigger issues with the team that I have this season is I just don't have a Ghost type, and my resist is Caparaja, which isn't great.
Capra is like fine, but he's not the mon that's gonna like take hits after hit, right?
No, absolutely not. And this is a weird lead situation for me because I was actually thinking of leading Banded Staraptor, but when I saw Persian, it kind of spooked me a bit. So I actually led Mesprit. I'm usually not one to change up my dedicated leads, but I did in this instance because Persian kind of just spooked me. And this like worked out for me, I guess. I mean, Banded Staraptor
you would tell ground, so you could potentially just stay in here and get a massive hit on this Cerulege.
Right, and I am Choice Scarf, if you remember from Team Preview. So I don't know if that reveals to him here, because I don't really know his speed, but I mean, it gives me damage, which is great. And like, since Wheezing didn't come Whimsicott with like dual stab and Shadow Ball just hits this entire team with a little bit of chip on Sarah Lich. This damage is really big for Whimsicott endgame.
Yeah, and he immediately is now put in the position because he cannot guarantee, because he know himself he's not choice scarf, so he cannot guarantee that you're choice scarf because the Mesper is naturally faster than Sirlich. So he now has to think of what is his best neutral switching in this position, I feel like.
Yeah, no, I mean he definitely had a ton of bulk on the Sarah Ledge as well. So knowing like whether or not I was Scarf or just like really fast, like he really has no idea. And the other thing that I love about Tarragon Mesprit here is that like it does kind of wall the Sandy Shot. So that's another aspect of this rank that I really like.
Yeah, so he goes into melodic. Melodic takes, you know, nothing. It's melodic.
It's and I count this and it's like max Spadef. I'm like, oh my god.
It is here to take on this Mesprit probably. I guess
it probably is. I was like, I feel like I'm always so used to seeing Militix with like Flame Orb and like physically defensive, so it like bounces out his defenses, but he just went all in on Spadef.
Yeah, I used to be like a really big melodic lover during Gen like 8 and whatnot, and I was like a Flame Orb enthusiast. Like that was my favorite item to run in the melodic. But I feel like in Gen 9, I've used it like once, I think. And I feel like in Gen 9, because of how like hyper offensive the meta is, the Flame Orb is just like not good enough. Like it's just a detriment to you.
That's super interesting because Milotic in general is a mon that I don't really like respect a ton in general, but especially this gen because of how like, I guess, fast-paced the meta is. Although as we sort of discovered in LTM, like it does sort of become a little bit more balanced.
Yeah,
I don't know. This is a very interesting turn, by the way, because I know that this could be specs, and I don't have a switch in for this, so I kind of just have to give up damage on my Blastoise. I kind of just like need to take this Hyper Voice damage because like it's Terra Normal. I look at my team, I don't have a switch in, and I kind of just have to accept the reality that like I have to take this Hyper Voice. Like I just need to know whether it's Scarf or Specs. I live anyone hit, but you know it's gonna mean I lose all the health on my Blastoise, which is gonna make me very susceptible to Sarah Ledge if it manages to get like a free switch.
Yeah, because you end up not having like really a Bitter Blade switch in after this. Like if you take a lot of damage on this Blastoise. But sometimes that's just kind of, sometimes to not lose too much momentum, you have to like sacrifice something here and there. And in this case, you decide to sacrifice the health on Blastoise to get a better position, I'm assuming. I actually don't know what you click
here. Well, I have to click flip turn here, right?
Yeah.
Which is good because it allows me to reposition into Staraptor here because this damage that it just did to me tells me it's specs. So what that allows me to do essentially is it allows me to bring in Banded Staraptor and you know, just kind of go for it.
But yeah, so you were thinking here, like go get the slow flip turn with Blastoise, and you were mentioning Staraptor because like this is a really good opportunity. You of course can probably tell from that damage that is true specs.
Exactly. I mean that's the excitement, or I guess the reason why flip turning there is a decent play because it gives me that information of whether it's Scarf or specs.
But he went fast into his mon. Holy, he was prepared for this star. He was like, "Yeah, I know what I'm going to."
This is the dedicated check here. So thankfully we're banded, and that's going to do incredible amount of damage. I'm pretty sure he was max fizzed up.
I'm gonna be honest. I thought that was gonna do more. Maybe I've been. I don't know. It's just like I don't see the value in Alone in Persia much anymore. Like I feel like it's just fallen off so much. But it took that hit slightly better than I thought it was gonna do.
Well, it's interesting. I remember doing calcs during prep, and I believe Scarf Adamant Staraptor was never 2-hit KOing. So Banded was helping a lot here. But I really couldn't tell, just because fur code is so weird in the calcs. I really couldn't tell if it was like if it had enough speed to outspeed Staraptor. I think in hindsight, I probably could have just brave rooted again and killed it. I think I may have outspent it, but
yeah, I mean, of course,
I think my Blastoise was safer.
Yeah, as we see here on J-Script's side, is he would have had foul play, and like if you stay in and he clicks foul play, that does do a lot. You know, so that is a little bit scary.
Well, plus the Rocky helmet, the recoil, like I would have died.
If you get a massive serve up here, that did a lot. Yeah, Jesus Christ.
It's torrent boosted, like, you know, I think clearly what this is it's like max defense, max speed, because like fur coat. that's kind of the best way to EV it, which means that this thing is very like weak on the special side.
Yeah, I'm surprised
Uh,
he's willing to take this damage because I think even switching out, like if it's asleep but with max health, you still can get like the Rocky Helmet chip, in my opinion.
yeah, no, I definitely agree with that assessment. I mean, that's why I went for flip turn here because I thought like, okay, no way he doesn't just go like Milotic this turn. He actually
Yeah.
stayed in. So
Yeah, that's another thing. He has such an easy switch to Blastoise. I get it becomes a little bit of a conditioning that he's just going to the same thing over and over. But I feel like now
Right.
you're down with a Persian that's less health than I had before. Like,
100%, yeah. And this is like a tricky situation for me because obviously like I could go into my offensive Whimsicott and just start clicking Moonblast. But something I'm really scared of is I'm really scared that Saraledge doesn't die to a Shadow Ball because that like Terra Blast damage should have done like 90% turn one and it did like I think like 60 or 70%. So it has like a ton of HP.
probably around 70, I would say. Yeah.
Right. So I was worried that Shadow Ball wouldn't kill from this range. So what I was worried about is I was worried about revenging this with Whimsicott and then him going Saraledge and me having to like switch into a Bitter Blade. And that would not have been very fun for me. So I feel like going Mesprit was the right play here. I don't know though. I
So
guess there's a lot
I think going Mesprit is a fine play just because he doesn't have like a good natural switch. Because like if you're not, you could have like Thunderbolt and you could potentially probably like click Thunderbolt on this Persian because it would have died from it, which means it also would catch the Milotic. But what you then on the other hand did here is you revealed completely that you are Choice Scout. Like that now he knows for certain.
Yeah, that which is crucial information on his side for sure. Like he's identified what my Scarfer is and like he can take advantage of it if I end up locking into something. It's not very, like, I guess, advantageous. Here I just like the Blastoise because I don't
Yeah,
want to switch
he's so low. He doesn't really have too much value.
No. Sorry, Blastoise. Maybe another day.
Nah, that Blastoise have done enough. I hate him.
So we're gonna go into the Raikou here, and this Raikou should threaten in a couple ways. Obviously, like J-Scarf could go hard Meloetta, which would be a pretty risky play, or you can go into the Sandy Shocks, or he could like Scald.
And you did like the quote unquote safe play because by going with substitute, you don't have to do the prediction, you know.
No, exactly, and you know he has Citrus here, which is going to help him with the Scald roll. You're going to see the Citrus in a second, yeah. Which you know it does win the situation in this instance, but he's not going to be able to do this ever again. I mean, this is just a one-time solution to Raikou on his team. So obviously I'm forced out here, but I have a Gligar and I have a Terraground Mesprit. So Sandy Shocks is not something that scares me a lot.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised he brought this kind of like more offense-oriented. Well, it has Stealth Rocks, but like I thought like a hazard stacking one might have been slightly better just because your spinner doesn't really want to switch into it anyway, right?
I think it's the way that like Sandy Shocks forces most progress this match is by just stacking hazards because its offensive moves are not very good here.
Yeah.
That being said, like I mean rocks are good because they weaken Raptor, which is nice.
Yeah,
I'm glad I was able to click substitute with Raikou there because it did force that Sandy Shocks out. Like it was booster energy. It would have like forced that to like be consumed. Like I think that was the best course of action because if he went anything else, then
and there are the T-spikes.
And the T-spikes, yeah, the late.
So now you have the T-spikes inside, and the Milotic came in, which means it doesn't even have the Marvel skill yet. If it is Marvel skill, so that's pretty nice.
Yeah. No, so this is a huge turn because I could like switch out, but I actually just stay up. I kind of value like all the hazards right now, and I'm kind of just thinking, like, if I just get any bit of chip on the Spidef Milotic, like if I can get it down to like half, then Whimsicott looks really, really great to just clean up. So my plan is sort of just to get up the rocks, and I get really lucky because he predicts me a switch out, and goes for Dragon Tail, which is like super good. Because even though it gets me in a Mesprit, which like isn't the greatest thing to come in, I can get that chip that I was talking about earlier by just clicking Energy Ball against the Milotic. And even if it's not going to do a ton of damage because it's like super spit up, after like the rocks and the T-spikes, like it's gonna get it in range of that Whimsicott hit. So that was kind of the sequence I was going for there.
I think J-Scurv is playing a little like here. I personally think he should Scald because after you lose Blastoise, you don't have a good Scald. Like even on the Gligar, you should probably have just Scald because I don't feel like you had a good Scald switch in, and like so he'll get chip, and he could potentially get a burn on something, which would have been nice. And he could have just flip turned on the turn after, because we saw your Mesprit, like, it didn't kill the Milotic, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So I think Jace like should have played a little bit more for the damage on these couple of turns, specifically more so against the Gligar than the Mesprit.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think so too, especially because in this game, he's also really looking to make sure he doesn't have like a high differential boss in order to make playoffs as well. So I think that would have been a smart way to play as well.
If you start to get chip on that Gligar, that would put his Surge in a much better position as well.
No, absolutely.
Though it would require him, of course, to get the weak armor boost to outpace something like Staraptor.
Yeah, absolutely. And I need to make sure that this Cerulege was never getting weak armor, right? Because Aqua Jet Blastoise is dead. So I like literally can never click a physical move unless it kills the Cerulege. Thankfully, with Mesprit dying here, I can just bring in Raptor and click Brave Bird.
It's birding time.
Especially with the hazards, yeah.
It's bird time.
And awkwardly enough, like, if Dreadnought comes in, it gets took out, so it probably won't come in here. But if, I don't know, say, like, he tries to set up with Dreadnought here, I do still have the Mirror Urban back, so...
Yeah, because he should... Oh, I'm actually... He sees this as an opportunity to go into this Dreadnought, because he's thinking, alright, she's logged into Brave Bird, I resisted, I can get my Shell Smash up pretty for free here.
That's right.
And he's about to learn nothing is free in Gen 9.
That's true. Yeah, no, I saw the Shell Smash coming from a mile away. It's the Queen of Drop.
Yeah, I will also say he made it a little too obvious in-game that I'm gonna do this now, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he necessarily had a choice. Like, I mean, if I didn't have Mirror Herb, like, this thing was going in. I do think, though, that this didn't, like, save me. I mean, I would have had to sack something. I probably would have just had to Brave Bird with Staraptor. But, like, Brave Bird with Staraptor was doing, like, 60-70%. And T-Spikes were up, like, and I still had, like, Tailwind, Whimsicott in the back.
And he's probably not, because he just checked his team and he's like, damn it, I'm in trouble.
Yeah, no, just
like, while Meloetta is very strong Spadef-wise, I don't think it takes +2 Thunderbolt from Raikou when it's almost at half.
Honestly, I didn't even remember, like, what HP this thing was at. But I wasn't really necessarily thinking this thing needed to sweep from here. I just wanted to
you just made it. Yeah, you just wanted to make sure that the Dreadnought didn't sweep you.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what's gonna happen here. We're just gonna kind of get a 4-0 win. Actually, like, I think tied for best differential win of the season in, like, the game that matters most.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna. Is this a game where Raikou was good?
This was like Raikou's best game all season, following its like worst game from the game before. You know, it saw that thumbnail, the like Raikou sucks thumbnail, and it was like, I need to do something about this. And,
I need to become my old self, also known as Raging Bolt.
I mean, I will say, like, I did, when I looked at the schedule at the start, like, I did literally identify this as the best Raikou matchup of the season. Like, Mirror Herb or no Mirror Herb, like, Sandy Shocks being your Raikou answer is not great. So,
yeah.
It ended up just worked out for us, and we got a big win, and that I think it put us at 5th seed, I want to say.
Yeah, I believe you were 5th seed, yeah, I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. So we definitely did scrape by in the playoffs. This is my first win in in-game I've ever won. I've been in 3 win in games before in my like draft league career. I've made playoffs beforehand every single time. But in this case, this is my only 3rd ever win in game, and it was the first one I ever won. The 2 times that in my career I've ever missed playoffs, I lost my win in games. So.
I'm personally the master of scraping by playoffs. Like, I'm really good at doing that. Like, I for the most part always have
so
like.
Nervous. I get so nervous.
I don't know. Maybe it's the pressure, but it's like I know how to perform the last week if I need to.
For me, it's the opposite. Like, I just like front load all my wins, and then like you know, then I'm like, I can't anymore. But here I was really forced to give my all. So good games to J-Scarf. He actually missed out on playoffs by 1 differential point. Which was definitely such a shame. But we made playoffs, so you get to see the rest of our playoff run, and that's pretty
Which includes this matchup versus
Liz. versus Viz. Like our worst loss of the season, right? I think I lost 5-0 to him in week 4. Really was digging the opportunity to fight him again. It was a situation where everyone picked their playoffs opponents, but Viz and
Yeah.
I were like left with each other, so we were just playing with each other. Um, Now, even though I lost to Viz last time, I actually don't think my matchup's that terrible versus him. Like his fairy resist is Typhlosion. So last time I brought like fairy spam, like I brought like Tech Fairy, Calm Mind Masquerade, I brought like offensive Pixie like Whimsicott. But I kind of think that was a little bit of like an oversight. Like I was kind of hyper fixating on the fairy weakness and not really focusing on other aspects of the, like what his team
Mm.
might struggle with. So this time I was really trying to do something different with the team. And I was trying to really build in a way that countered his playstyle because some things that people don't really account for when they play Viz is he has a very like different drafting style than most like draft league players because he'll kind of just draft a lot of like offense and support for the offense. So it doesn't really matter that he has big like fairy weakness because he's gonna play in a way where he's just like I mean he's gonna use it to his advantage. Like he brings a ton of weakness policies, brings screens, like you know what I mean? He's gonna use that to his
Mm.
advantage. So instead of trying to like hone in on his defensive like I guess faults with his draft, I kind of wanted to just be able to bring a team that's safeguarded as much as possible versus Viz shenanigans. So like we're talking like weakness policies, we're talking like like lead focus sashes and things like that, like we've seen from him this entire season. So I think my team reflects that potentially. I
Yeah, and
think you should take a
I
look at it.
remember the prior to this game because I believe I helped you do a mock for this one because I remember doing the Rhyperia,
Right.
and I
Yeah.
was like, I think Terror Rock, like I personally was like Terror Rock Rhyperia because you maintain your defensive stand into Star Raptor while also having that offensive boost that you really wanted. Um, and I think you did make some adjustments after that, if I remember correctly. If you take a look at the
Oh,
team here.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah. I was very, very nervous of Terror Rock right here, which is kind of crazy. I definitely made a lot of like moveset adjustments. One interesting thing is with Raikou, even though the ground type is Rhyperior, I didn't have Scald on it because my assumption was he's never going to go Rhyperior on Raikou, knowing that I could click Scald at any one point. And
Yeah.
then afterwards, he's just going to Terra Rhyperior anyway. He could be like Lightning Rod or whatever. So I really like didn't want to even bother with Scald. In fact, Aura Sphere Extra Sensory actually hit the team better. Like Aura Sphere gave me the ability to hit like Terra Rock Rhyperior, for example, but also gave me an ability to hit Duraludon, which I didn't have prior. And then Extra Sensory is really good for Breloom. So AV Raikou is there for like Primarina. Choice Scarf Staraptor is there to try and outspeed like, Rock Polish uh, Rhyperior, as well as like Dragonette Gyarados, which is what I lost to last time.
Yeah.
The Blastoise is meant to spin early because I know the Helix get hazards up early. So I want to make sure that I can spin as much as possible. And if he tries to stay in with like Rhyperior or Duraludon, I have Iron Defense Body Press with Citrus Berry to break both of those down. And then basically the rest of it is kind of anti-setup. We have dedicated lead Gligar, which should hopefully
Which
be
by the
able
way,
to.
I just want to mention he's lost his item. Like, yeah, what is happening here? Where is his trusty Eviolite? I don't know this Gligar.
So the reason I was sashed, I was gonna be sashed actually when we played week 4, and someone convinced me to do Eviolite, and I kind of regretted it. But the reason I was sashed here was because I wanted to be max attack, max speed, because I wanted Earthquake to be able to 2-hit KO offensive Primarina, and we still live to hit offensive Primarina because he let Specs Primarina last time.
Mm.
And then I also wanted to be able to live other things like Ice Punch from like Rhyperior and stuff. I mean, I guess Eviolite would have still lived to those things, but it was really just to live the Specs Primarina hit or just any Primarina hit in general.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
Eviolite doesn't guard against that.
Like
And then
having
yeah,
having dual wing beat is
so,
also really nice into like lead sash.
yeah,
Right?
lead Sash Breloom. I was really hoping he would lead that because that would be really sick. But really the idea is just taunt, right? Stop like Spikes Overquill if I can like win that speed tie. Stop like Rocks Duraludon. Stop Spore Breloom, although I guess I would still beat it. Stop Rocks with Rhyperior, although it depends on what the Terra type is. Taunt is also really nice to stop like a physically defensive Calm Mind Articuno, which you brought last time. It's good to stop Dragon Dance Gyarados. Hyper Cutter is really nice because he has two Intimidators, and then yeah, it just gets up rocks reliably. And like Viz doesn't really run boots on anything. I've never seen him run boots in my life, so getting like rocks for like Gyarados and Articuno is really good. So that's kind of the early game idea, and then Whimsicott and Mesprit basically function as like anti-Viz shenanigans bonds. So you have like Encore to stop like random setup. So from like the Articuno or like the Gyarados or anything really, or like the Poltegeist, Log or the Poltegeist.
Yeah,
and then like
I was just gonna say, like, even though Whimsicott did lose quite a fair amount of moves from Gen 8 to Gen 9, it still has this like Encore sub-lead seed set, which is just annoying to deal with. Like,
yeah, and it's the first time I brought it all season, crazy enough.
yeah.
I'm really saying I'm missing like EVs on it. I hope I didn't like forget to like bring those EVs in the actual game, but who knows, doesn't matter. Anyway, I very much looked at this team and I was like, okay, well, like there's still fair resist, but like I don't want to bring offensive. I want to bring Spadef because it helps me with Primarina, and Leech Seed is pretty much unguardable because he can never go into
To the Breloom.
Breloom, right? So just sub Leech Seed's really nice with Moonblast Encore. Kind of just sit and sub spam. It's really nice. And then the cussed out Mesprit, Try and True Mesprit, is really nice for things like Agility Articuno, Rock Polish Rhyperior, Dragon Dance, Gyarados. Again, just gives me options against those like really fast.
And you went Terra Ground once again, I see. Very interesting.
Yeah, I was really afraid of... that was the last minute change. I was originally Terra Electric because I wanted to deal as much damage to player and Articuno as possible. But I changed to Terra Ground because of Regieleki. I didn't think Regieleki was likely, and then I started seeing it in a lot of mocks, and I was like, shit. If I'm letting Gligar go down really early because it's a dedicated lead, I just have no guard against Regieleki. So
yeah, that makes sense.
That was the idea.
But yeah.
And then yeah, if he brought like Edgequake Rhyperior as well. Like,
which, by the way, for this one, we're watching on Viz's YouTube, so there might be some ads.
Yeah. Hopefully it's okay. Regardless, we're here in the matchup. Very, very like interesting team that he ends up bringing. But the thing I was just gonna say is like Terra Ground Mesprit also well as like Edgequake Rhyperior, which is the other reason I liked it a lot.
That's true, yeah. I mean, Rhyperior, it's an evolution of Gen 1 mons that has so many moves, so you can't wall everything, but being able to wall its natural dual stabs is always like a very nice thing to have.
Well, and here's something psycho you want to hear, is that this Rhyperior, I never considered it would ever be this Terra type in the actual game. It is Terra Ice in this game.
It literally is screaming, "You're not switching this Gligar into me."
Yeah, literally. And like, he is Terra Ice, he's Chople Berries, so he's like resistant to the close combat, to the Aura Sphere.
Yeah.
Like, it's a very good bring on his part. I just didn't consider it whatsoever.
And we already see here 3 weakness policies, as you mentioned.
Yeah. I kind of just expected this from him. Like, to be honest, like, it's bread and butter. And when I saw the Regieleki, I also kind of just like, I looked at this, I said, okay, this is probably going to be... I didn't really know what the Rhyperior would be, but I definitely knew this would be some kind of like, screens mode into a lot of offense. But the cool thing about Viz's team is, even though it's kind of telegraphing to me that he's going to be screens with like setup spam or weakness policy spam, ultimately, like, I don't know what his lead is, because it could be lead spikes overgrowth with like, weakness policy rock polish Rhyperior, or it could be the opposite. It could be lead Rhyperior with like SD overgrowth. I have no idea. So it's still unpredictable, even though it's predictable, which makes it scary.
So what was going through your head now when you saw the Rhyperior? It's Terra Ice. Like, you were still just going to stick with plan, get the rocks up?
I want to stick to the plan. I want to get rocks up 100%. Even if Regieleki exists, I want to be able to like force it to spin, which is like important, because it might mean that he doesn't get access to like a screen or something. And I know I'm never dead to Terra Blast because I'm Sash. So I thought for a little bit maybe I should taunt here, but if you just like raw went for Terra Blast, that would not have worked out very well for me.
Yeah.
So I figure, you know what? Let me just get my own rocks up.
We do see the... I'm actually very surprised you went for the turn 1 Terra here. Because, well, So I'm surprised because of the move he decided to click. So he decided to click Stealth Rock, which I think if you click Stealth Rock, do you really need to Terra turn 1?
I don't know. It's hard to say because like it maybe not. I don't know. I didn't really think about it when he was going for it. Like it makes me wonder if he was just afraid of taking an earthquake. I don't really know.
But I mean,
But-
even a max attack Lyga, I do not imagine is doing like almost anything to Rhyperior.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. So yeah, you know what? That's a good point. I didn't really consider that.
And then
That
here
may-
he hard predicts you switching out because he clicked
Which
Earthquake
is
and the flying
great
glide.
read.
Yeah.
Like, goddamn.
He was like, yeah, there's no way this flying bat is staying in. I'm clicking EQ.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm physically defensive Blastoise, and that still takes a massive chunk. It just shows how strong Rhyperior is. Like Rhyperior, I think, has proven to be one of the strongest Terra captains. Rhyperior and Rhydon this season went crazy.
I love Rhyperior. I haven't tried Rhydon, but I love Rhyperior. It's probably my favorite Terramon I've ever used.
Oh my god, yeah. It seems so much fun. I just, yeah, I don't know if I could do it justice, but it seems like it would be pretty fun to use. The thing that was really scary in the matchup was just like it could be anything. It could be Solid Rock, it could be Lightning Rock, it could be any like various types.
Also, he stayed in here on the like. I guess he's not weak to water moves. I guess he doesn't really like. He would never die. But the fact that he just still stayed in, I was like, yeah, I don't care about the health of this Rhyperior. I'm just gonna click EQ over and over.
Yeah, which was kind of crazy to me because I saw this Rhyperior as his way to check Raikou, and he just doesn't really care about it. Which, okay, what does that say to me about like the team that he's bringing? Okay, it kind of just says to me that he's not worried about defensive checks right now. He's worried about just like getting a Lecky in, getting the screens up, maybe going boom, and then just going for game. And I can't really do anything about it. I kind of just have to like accept reality and just kind of like chip this as much as I can. But I like didn't expect this thing to have Choppleberry at all. And it means that I can't really revenge it with anything. Like if Body Press did double that damage without the Choppleberry, then sure I'd be able to revenge it with a lot of things. But in this instance, it's really tough because now I'm left thinking, okay, I'm not going to kill this stupid thing. I don't know what to do. So yeah, it was quite tough.
Yeah, I mean,
and
that
the
is
reason that's problematic is because it means he can get his rocks up. Like he can get his rocks up after like another
because that's the thing with Rhyperior is like if you don't have a really strong special attacker to take him out, he is almost impossible to one-shot on the physical side. And with the very little chip you have so far, it's still like even like wrapped up with like a close combat probably would not even come close. I think.
No, probably not actually, and that's what's kind of insane. But hey, at least my rocks are up. That makes me happy.
Yeah,
but he's just like he wants his rocks up too. So it's showing how both paying attention to this game.
So like, he gets his rocks up now. Rocks up on both sides, but he can still technically get rid of his like the ones on his side, which you cannot.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what puts him in an advantageous position, I think, at this point in the game because my spinner is gone, rocks are up to stay. I have no form of removal, which means my sash is broken. My Raptor is very limited, and yeah, it also makes my AB Raikou less of a check to Primarina. So like, it really helps him out in this instance. I'm able to take out the Rhyperior, but ultimately, like, at what cost, right? Am I able
because
to...
he took out the Blastoise and got a rock up. So that's a good exchange for him, definitely.
It's a great exchange. I mean, basically, we both lost one mon and got a rock set, but he's able to spin here. But obviously, I'm Terra Ground, so I can threat. And he cast a light screen to ensure that I don't. I don't kill him once he rapid spins at least. So it gives me some damage. Uh-oh. Leap.
But yeah, no, so he gets his light screen up. You go for the Terra Blast. It's kind of just pretty like, run of the mill, like, oh, who could have predicted this? But that Terra Blast did a lot. So if he wants to spin, he is sacking his Regieleki. So that is a very interesting way that he went about this. That he was like, I'm ready to sack my Leggy if it means I can get rid of the rocks and have one light screen up here.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it shows that again, he's going for game right now. Like he's ready for it.
Hmm.
And I mean, that's the type of like fast-paced, aggressive play that you can expect from playing Vince. This might seem like a weird play. Why would I not just take my kill? The reason I don't want to take my kill is I don't think I can set rocks up against anything else on his team except this Regieleki. So if I just set up rocks, he's going for rapid spins, then at the very least I'm stalling out screen turns. And ultimately, this is like the mod that I want to be clicking stealth rocks on, and I really want stealth rocks up because I know for a goddamn fact that Articuno is not boots.
Yeah.
So, hey.
But yeah, I think this is like an interesting, because this is one of those that's like really difficult to really wrap your head around, because he could just stay in here and spin again, and then do you go for rocks, or do you just do this dance back and forth for 20 turns? Or
That's the question. Yeah.
Or does he do this, trying to predict a little bit, trying to get some momentum? He got to reflect up, meaning that he can now pretty safely switch into the surf quick, get his weakness policy, and now he threatens you pretty a lot. Now I don't think he knows you're not Eviolite yet. I don't think so.
Right. Well, from this damage, he definitely knows that I'm max attack, especially with the hyper cutter helping, and unfortunately, this earthquake doesn't kill, but it puts me in quick tech range, so I'm never too worried about what this Quillfish might do, because I will always prevent you with quick attack from Raptor. So that's weakness policy number one.
This is where he showcased that we do not run liquidation in this house. We run ice beam.
That's fucking true. The reason I liked the series of plays with Gligar versus Regieleki is because, yeah, you're right, we could be doing this dance back and forth for 20 turns, but the burden is on him to act, right? The burden is on him to get his mons in before the screens run out.
Yeah.
So it forces him in a situation where he has to react, and I can kind of just make the same play until he reacts, which is what I was kind of just trying to go for there.
But yeah, so you go into Raptor here, and I mean, he's thinking that it doesn't matter if I'm switching out because he probably dies to rocks, right? If he comes in.
Yeah, I'm sure he's dead to rocks, and like ultimately, like there's nothing else he wants to have take this hit. You know what I mean? So.
And he could definitely tell, this is probably quick attacks. I guess I'm dead here. But that also gives him like, but at the same time, if you were like no Star Raptor as a mon, you also okay now she's locked into quick attack probably.
That's the thing. Like, I've only brought Raptor as Scar for bans this entire season, and you saw me take rocks. So, I mean, it makes sense to go into Primarina here for sure, because I don't really have a switch in anymore to Moonblast. I mean, I didn't have a switch in the first place. I don't think there's a single fairy resist that I brought. So, like, he can just click it quite freely, and I can just go into Raikou, except, as you can see, this Primarina's weakness policy, right? So I'm going to be proccing this weakness policy again, which is terrifying.
Yeah, what was going through your head after you saw the first weakness policy? Were you like, okay, that's it, so that was the weakness policy one? Like, you were just like, there's no other?
No, I kind of had a feeling this would be weakness policy too, and to be honest, I had a feeling, I've just seen how he plays, and I know that he was going to have multiple. Like, this wasn't necessarily a surprise to me, because it doesn't veer off too much from what he's been doing in the past. It was just a situation where it didn't really matter. Like, I obviously know that this Primarina's weakness policy, I can't do anything about it, really. Like, I can't damage this in any other way except super effective damage. So, at best, all I can do is hope just that, like, I can get enough damage off on Primarina to revenge it with the next thing. So these weakness policy mods are forcing, a bunch of kills and stuff, but I'm doing my best to make sure that they're only forcing 1-for-1 kills. Like, they're forcing trades instead of, like, making whole sweeps happen.
Yeah, you did get a little unlucky in that exchange, because he actually got the special attack drop as his light screen went out, and that means it almost as if the light screen still was there in a sense, which is a little unfortunate. True. But you still get enough chip with the Thunderbolt that I mean, a Brave Bird here definitely takes this thing out. It probably chunks like anything that wants to come in too. So.
Yeah, no, it absolutely does. And I thankfully am able to get Raptor in at this opportune time. I guess he still doesn't know for a fact whether I'm choice shot, but it's pretty easy to assume. Aquajet, that damage actually matters a lot, because it means that I can't switch in anymore, which sucks.
Oh, you won the 25 after that one? Oh yeah, with the Brave Bird recall. With the Brave Bird recall.
I'm at like 2% at this point.
Yeah. Now, would it? If I'm Vizium, why would he not just go Lecky? Because like, I'm assuming he would have sped crypted.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I'll cut these out and then I'll
Alright.
re-say what I was saying.
No worries.
But yeah, so if I'm Viz in this situation, why like I would probably have gone Reggie Lakey here and then either get spin up to get rid of rocks so Articuno doesn't take it, or get another like screen up if I needed to. Because here, you're just taking unnecessary damage and now you sack your Articuno for no reason.
Yeah. And that would have gone crazy versus my team. Obviously, he doesn't know that I'm plus that Whisper in the back, so you know, regardless, I feel like I would have at least 1-for-1 with that. With that custom Whisper, but you truly have no way of knowing. You know, that being said, like, it definitely was a misplay. Whether he thought that he lived it or didn't realize that he didn't have reflect up or whatever, it was definitely a misplay that
yeah
basically gave me the win. That's why.
And
Like,
the problem,
do I think it was over if he went into this and like rapid spin? No, not at all.
No.
I had good, but including on.
But it's also just like the Leggy is not posing a threat to Whimsicott plus Mesprit at the end because like they both resist / is immune to the Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
So just going a Leggy first and get something out of it before you necessarily sack your Articuno. Yeah. Like I'm actually very interested in what his thought process was at that point.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, my brain is foggy. I think it was just like a miscalc or something. Like he just thought he lived and he didn't. And that's the power of Raptor.
Yeah, no, he got rid of the rocks for the Breloom, so that he get to like keep the stash, get the tomb of the Whimsicott here. So now he should be faster. I'm just gonna assume he's faster.
Yeah, but thankfully Addy has a big brain play in store because since I'm Terra Ground Mesprit, you just use Rock Tomb against me. I can secure this win by just clicking Encore.
Yeah, because like then even if in some weird way you don't kill him, despite being Choice Scarf and he's on 1%.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't Choice Scarf. I was past that berry.
Oh wait, so... yeah, you were Choice Scarf that. Sorry, you were Choice Scarf the last one. That's right. In some weird way where he's faster and you've now secured because you guaranteed take this Rock Tomb and then.
Yeah, but it turns out I was faster anyway.
Yeah.
So interesting game. Like comes down to that really like late game misplay on his half. Do I think it like completely tipped the scales? Absolutely not. Like I think the game was close up until that point, but once he made that misplay, it kind of that was it. Like I was just able to win with those topless Mesprit.
And yeah, I mean, as I said, we're watching this video here, so he's probably doing a little bit of retrospect. So if you want to check what his thought process was, you can check it out right here. But
yeah, please.
I thought this was a really cool game because, as you mentioned, this is like very unconventional compared to a lot of draft league players. Like 3 weakness policies is not something you see very often.
Well, and also like I like to think that I'm pretty good at figuring out people's strategies. I feel like I'm pretty good at like if I lose to someone once, I can really understand where their head process was at in order to beat me that first time. So I can retrospectively go back into the builder and say, okay, how can I ensure that this doesn't happen again? And ultimately, like I felt like I was pretty, able to do that in this situation where I said, okay, like if he does this offense mode, and doesn't care really about like having defensive checks or anything, how can I beat that back? And it was less about having like defensive checks to all these weakness policy ones because it's just not possible. Like I'm gonna crack the weakness policies inevitably. It was more so about making sure that I was trading mons 1-for-1 until we're in a final 2v2 1v1 situation where I come out on top. And that was what I was managing throughout that entire game. But it really could have ended up going either way, especially depending on if Fielaki came in that time that you mentioned.
You wanted to...
Alright, y'all. This is it. It's the semifinals. And we get to go up against a very, very scary opponent. I mean this seriously. You're a very good player.
I mean, yeah. I would like to say the way I've always said it is I think I'm the most average of average, but that also means I rarely play very badly, if that makes sense.
I agree with you. You're very consistent, I would say. Like every game that I've seen you play this season, like you've it has been good. Like you are very like well, I don't know. You're very good and you're very like you play more balanced, I think, than other players, weirdly enough. And you're pretty
Mm.
good at it, which I
Which is
definitely
really
respect.
interesting because Gen 9 has by far been my best generation so far, and it's much more offensive. So it's such a weird
Right. It
like
is
I
this
bet.
weird thing, isn't it? I will say though, like the matchup here, I said this week 5, I think during my week 5 video, this is probably one of my better matchups of the season, I think. And I don't know if you'll agree with me in terms of like how you felt prepping for me. Texturisty's a bitch, like we saw with Meloetta, like I just don't have to switch into like,
Yeah,
boomers. Um,
last time when we played, I tried to metagame a little too much and went Terror Electric because I thought you were gonna go Terror Ghost on the mesh pit.
yeah, I mean, I
Uh,
knew in prep this time that you were definitely going to be terrible no
yeah,
matter
because
what.
well, so one thing funny enough that I didn't notice until like week 7 or 8 or something. Every game I had been Terror Normal and Texturity, I won. Every game had been something else, I lost.
That's not true. You beat Owen
Well,
with the other one.
that I noticed beforehand with what that was the like
I
I think
see.
so it's like for the last season was the first time I won where I wasn't Terror Normal.
Right. That makes sense.
But
That's
yeah, no,
fair.
I don't know. Going into this matchup, I of course had a little bit the Blastoise PTSD.
Right.
Because last time I got swept by Shell Smash, which I mean, I don't know. To me, maybe I should have respected it a little bit more, but I just thought I had too much offensively to pressure that thing that I didn't think it was going to be Shell Smash
Well,
ever.
to be honest, like based on how last game went, I kind of figured you'd do like one of, I guess, 3 things. I figured you would either like do the Alolan Raichu strategy, right? So you always have something that outpaces the Shell
Mm,
Smash Blastoise. I thought that you could be a mirror herb on something, right? So like Iron Jugulus or like maybe the Tauros or something.
yeah,
Or I thought you would just like correct with like, I guess, Shukaberry like
Tentacruel.
Tentacruel or
Yeah.
something. Or just like, try and keep P2 around. So this time around, I decided that the course of action was to run Scarf Water Spout. And the reason I like Scarf Water Spout into you, even though there's like, a Tentacruel, is because if you brought Tentacruel, I felt like so confident that it would be the switch in to Blastoise that I could just
Yeah.
Scarf Flip Turn on it and then bring in like Bandit Staraptor. And that was kind of the idea, pretty much. The other reason I liked Water Spout was because if I clicked Water Spout on Tentacruel coming in, then it would have put Tentacruel in range of my Mesprit set, which was like a Calm Mind stored power type
Yeah,
situation.
so going into this game, I never in my wildest dream had imagined you were gonna go Triska Blastoise. Because like it's kind of as you say, where I have such a good switch into Blastoise
Right.
in Tentacruel that I'm just like, okay, there's no way she's gonna be true. Like I didn't even get as far as there's no way she's gonna be Triska. It never occurred to me
It
to be
didn't even like
Triska
cross your
Plus.
minds. Yeah.
Yeah. Because like I feel like being like more bulky or be a Shell Smash in game
Right.
mod made much more sense. I
I
still
mean,
think
I
the more
agree. Like, I think Shell Smash on paper looks best against you. I think the reason that I was Water Spout in this matchup was A, for that surprise factor, like, now you're saying, but also because it got chip on the things that I think were so obviously we're gonna switch into it. Like Shell Smash Blastoise sweeping you last time was such a double-edged sword because while it meant that you knew what you could do to like do better, I could also predict what you were gonna do to do better, and that gave me sort of an idea. Okay, what are the likely ways that Thomas is gonna construct this team in order to like not lose to Shell Smash Blastoise again? And I
mm,
felt like all of those different things that you could do basically if I just got a water spout off on any of them, the rest of my mons were in a good
yeah.
situation.
And I
So,
mean, I think most of your team here is kind of what I like. I was 99% confident you were going to be AV Raikou.
mm. Yeah,
And
AV
like,
Raikou has a ridiculous matchup here with like max HP, max Pidef. Like, I think the calc is like if you're just like a normal like booster speed Iron Jugulus, I think Dark Pulse does something like 15%. Like, it's actually like
yeah.
disgusting.
And like, I also had like a good, well, I didn't predict Star Raptors would be banned. I was like, it's going to be banned with Triska. This is one or the other.
No,
It's like,
yeah.
I will say there was one mon on this team. I'm not going to mention which one because we're going to watch the match, then we can go over it. There was one mon on this team I did not respect nearly enough. And
Yeah.
that probably ended up being my biggest downfall. Maybe.
Yeah. Maybe. I mean, I think Gligar is a demon in low tier, and I've been trying to convince Jay Ricky of this all season. He like won't hear it, but it's fine. Gligar
And
is a
then
demon, and
I'm very
it gets a
interested because
prop really
you brought the
nicely.
mug, which I don't think you brought that much throughout the season, right?
So the Muck I actually only brought versus D-Ray this season, which is such
Yeah.
a shame because I actually respect Muck so much this generation. I actually think it's such an incredible mon. In regular tier, I would probably grab it for like 6 or 7 points. I think it's that good.
Mm.
It's just other things on my team have also had good matchup. So I haven't really had the opportunity to bring it, but I think it has so much potential. So I really liked it into your team as just a nice little like defensive catch-all, right? It like even though like I have AV Raikou for like Toxtricity and for like, Jugulus and Rabombi and things, like I still
Yeah.
want like a secondary defensive mon. So I really liked it just as like a catch-all option that could come in, sponge hit, and then force a knockoff off on
But
something or force a toxic.
there's also one
Right.
thing about this mug we have to really talk about.
Yeah.
Why is it called breakfast?
It's delicious, nutritious.
Ah,
You
yeah,
wake up in the morning for some
the
delicious
goop of
breakfast.
sludge is nutritious and delicious. Sure, sure.
It's yummy. You know you want it.
I if you're watching at this point, please comment down below why the hell is it called breakfast. Please.
I think if you know me, and I don't know, I don't even know what that means. So I'm just gonna say like, look, ultimately, I think it's a funny name. That's all there
If you
is
know
to it.
me, I only eat toxic waste.
No, but for real, let me like actually like advocate this set. Like acid armor could acid armor up on your Mudsdale if you brought it, and then I could like start clicking toxic and pain sweat, and I beat it 1v1. Acid armor also beat like Iron Defense body press, like Bronzong 1v1, and it like helped me take on the Tauros as well. So if I could like get an acid armor up, it was definitely like a demon wall against your team, which
Yeah.
was cool.
It is
I liked
definitely
it.
it's one of those where like I wouldn't think about it. I wouldn't think about acid armor like immediately because like that. How often do you see acid armor mock realistically?
Never. No, definitely not. So this team was definitely built upon a lot of like trying to get some surprise factor going. All right. No worries.
Quality it was the speed. Being stupid.
That's fine.
Just jumped. All right, so here we are with the match. As you can see, I opted for full electric train in this match. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go as hard spamming as I can.
Yeah. And it makes a lot of sense. Like if I didn't bring Gligar like I didn't last time, like Raikou went crazy, or
Mm.
Raichu rather goes crazy.
Yeah, because that
And
was my thought process. Was like last time you didn't bring Gligar, and like it wasn't that I didn't think Gligar couldn't come. It's just more I was more like, okay, if she didn't do it last time, there must have been a reason. So let's go with this and like see what happens.
for sure. I will say I did a couple mocks for this game, and the one mock that I lost was a nasty plot Alolan Raichu, like calling me out on a switch, clicking that spot and sweeping me. So like I definitely knew that this was a very strong opponent into my team. And
Like I kind of think I got like the lead matchup a little bit here because like, you can very much stay in if you don't care too much and you can just like go for like rocks or whatever. But
No,
Juggernaut
for
does
sure.
get knockoff, so like this would potentially have been a situation where I could have just like knocked off the but you were like he's not knockoff. I don't care.
Well, I honestly, if you were knockoff, you were knockoff. I was also wondering if you might be taunt here, like, and
Yeah.
ultimately, like, my mentality with these sorts of things is don't assume until it's revealed. So, like, you could have been knockoff, you could have been taunt, but you also could have not been either of those things. And the benefit of being rocks up is just so strong that, like, you know what, like, if worst comes to worst, if you have taunt, if you have knockoff, I'll react on turn 2. But
Yeah, and
for now,
I didn't bring the greatest spinner ever known to land in Brambleghast. So these rocks are up to stay, unfortunately.
Can we just talk about how that's a Specs Iron Jugulus into the Raikou there?
I did 25%, you know.
25%. Pretty good. Raikou, I will say, Raikou has been performing in these games so far, which is nice. Well done, Raikou.
Yeah, I can't say the same for Iron Juggle as my round one pick. I mean, he did well in the quarterfinals. That's the only game the entire season he did well.
Yeah, I honestly I wouldn't have even been surprised if he benched Iron Jugulus this game just because like I had that like obvious Raikou option.
Yeah,
Scald
I
was
mean,
pretty obvious for me here as well, because like I don't know, like it obviously like this was an obvious play, and you knew that this was coming out as well, but just like 30% chance for a
yeah. So
burn, like you
I
didn't really
remember
do
going
anything
over
to
it,
try
and
to
I was
counter it.
like, I know she's gonna click Scald here, but realistically, there's not much else I can do. So I just have to hopefully not get burned. Now, one thing I do kind of regret in the prepping session of this is I have brought Facade mod still like 2 times throughout the season in case I get like Scald burned.
That would
And
have been nuts.
I did not do it in this game for some reason.
If I got cooked by Facade Mudsdale, honestly, that would have been rough.
But yeah, I kind of like really regretted that I didn't do that.
Yeah, for sure. Something that was so funny though is yes, you were AV, but I think based on that calc, that could have also been like max HP, max BF, because I think you were probably like max attack or something.
Yeah, no, I was a
So
very offensive mod still. I do remember that.
yeah, I went into Blastoise thinking this could still get rocks up, and if it gets rocks up, then I get a free water spout
Yeah.
against your team.
And I went Jugglers on a prediction as well. I don't remember what exactly it was I was predicting. I don't think it was Blastoise. I don't remember fully. But I was like, there's no way she's staying in with Raikou. So let me go here. And then when I'm in, I'm like, okay, let me U-turn out real quick because like again, I had never thought about this being Choice Scarf. And
And the water spout just hooks
and
your
I
ass.
lost Iron Jugglers very early on. So I now have a burnt Monster and a dead Iron Jugglers. This is not a good start.
No, not at all. And to be honest, like that was really what I was hoping to get with Scarf Water Spout Blastoise. Because even if you brought Tentacruel, right? Like if Scarf doesn't cross your mind, you could have clicked U-turn there. You know what I mean? And it still would have had the same effect. And
Yeah.
like that was what I was really trying to go for. Is just like if I can just catch like a Mon unexpectedly, it's really going to start to break down your offensive core because now like your team, right? You can only you basically have to go all in on electric terrain at this point, and you don't have the chip on my team to do it yet.
Yeah, and a problem with this specific situation was also I didn't have that many mons that could actually just switch into Water Spout in general, right? Like Mud still dies, Toxtricity I think very close to dies. Pincurchin was like the best answer because I believe it was Spadef Pincurchin. And it of course like threatens Blastoise. Like if you want to stay in, I will gladly chip you down so you cannot Water Spout me anymore, you know?
Yeah. But the thing about this situation is, yeah, you're threatening me out, but you're also wasting electric turns as well. So it can be quite tough.
But yeah, I go for like the quote-unquote safe play because as much as I kind of can call not Raikou, Gligar is going to come in here, at the same time, it's so risky for me to make a switch. Because if I make a switch and you call that and click Water Spout, I just lose them on.
Exactly. Like that's what's so rough. And I probably could have clicked Water Spout there too, like just gotten damage where I wanted to.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. But ultimately, like Gligar coming in here, pretty good for me. Like you don't have much guards against like knockoff. You have this like Mudsdale, which is burns, but it can't do anything back to Gligar. I agree with your commentary, by the way, in this game that Mudsdale should have Avalanche. But
yeah, that's
really
been a reoccurring thing throughout the season. There's so many times I just wish Mudsdale got Avalanche. Like if he got Avalanche, there would be so many scenarios where you just like he would be so much better.
I know, for real. So here I'm in this like weird situation where like I could go into Mesprit and start setting up, but I kind of just like didn't want to. I was kind of just like it could be like Memento on the Pincurchin, or like it could be like I don't know.
Yeah, like you still feel like there's a little too many uncertainties to try and set up.
Yeah, and like for all I know, yeah, like your Facade or something, right? Like I just don't want to take too much damage on Mesprit where I don't need to. So I'm happy, like even though Earthquake's not doing much, you're not doing much to me. So we're kind of just playing this like war of attrition.
This Stone Edge is pathetic.
Yeah, that damage is pretty rough.
I mean, yeah, that's what happens when you have a burnt Mudsdale. He's just kind of like he's slowly just going, kill me.
I mean, like, yeah, like burn's super unfortunate here, but that was actually my first Scald burn the entire season, believe it or not.
I mean, it might have been the first Scald I got hit at at all.
That's fair.
I don't think that many have Scald into me generally.
That's fair. But hey, like Gligar beats Mudsdale. Who's the better ground type? Just saying.
Okay, let me burn your Gligar and then have the discussion.
No. So this is an interesting situation, right? Because you have Ice Spinner on your Bronzong,
Oh, also,
which I
I'm gonna quickly stop the video here.
oh yeah,
So because you can of course not hear the audio. So, uh, I had declared to Addison before the game that I was Terra normal, right?
oh yeah, yes.
Uh, I now in this, I don't think it's right now, but it's like in a split second or something. Look at my damage calc and look that my Terra type is electric, and I immediately go, oh no.
Oh no.
Uh, so yeah, I realized that I am not. I can't remember if it's this situation or if it's the next time I look at my team.
Yeah.
But I realized I am not Terra normal, which is not a good thing. But I just decided to go bronze on because realistically, if you look at your team, kind of the way you said with Acid Armor Muck, in the same vein, if I can get my Iron Defense up with bronze on first,
Yeah.
I have a chance of also just beating like your team in a sense.
Which is why I had to have taunt there, right? I wanted to prevent rocks, I wanted to prevent like Iron Defense and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it matched up really well versus the team that you brought. And I will say also with like the Terra type mistakes. Look at fucking Gligar being so strong at Liz that Ice Spinner. That's crazy. I say this with all love and respect. Like I imagine you're quite tilted at this point. Like given the Terra mishap and the burn and everything, and I guess in a way, again with all love and respect, the team was designed to do that. Like the team was designed to kind of catch you off guard and force you to react early. And then also then you get some fortunate stuff in my favor, like the Terra mistake and the burn and stuff.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, I don't think
really
the Terra mistake of course is a little unfortunate, but I think the biggest issue for me was not respecting Gligar enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Specifically the set you brought with rocks, taunt, earthquake. I don't remember what your last move was. Knockoff, that's what it was.
Knockoff, yeah.
Knockoff. Kind of just shut down a lot of my team because I don't switch into earthquake too well, and the one mon that switches into earthquake gets taunted easily and then gets knocked off, which is a little bit unfortunate. And of course, Bronzong.
Right.
But yeah, you going to miss here, and you didn't go for setup here, which is actually kind of interesting.
I was worried, I think, about Heavy Slam. Just Heavy Slam, I think 3-8 KO'd me, and I didn't want to be in range of Overdrive or anything like that. So I kind of just wanted to value getting the KO. And I think that was the right play. What's awkward about this situation is obviously I'm Terra Ghost because I expect you to be Terra Normal Toxtricity, which at this point in the game, I'm like, all right, he's going to bring in the Terra Normal Toxtricity. And my moveset is, Calm Mind, Shadow Ball, Stored Power, Draining Kiss. And because you're Terra Normal, okay, I can never Shadow Ball here. Now, if I knew you were Terra Electric, I would Shadow Ball here every single time. But, I have no idea.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right.
I remember in this game because so for people that don't know, sometimes we stream the game in the server to the rest of the people.
Yeah.
Little fun and whatnot. And I was literally going is this cheating? Am I cheating? Because I'm not gonna Terra, but I'm technically bluffing Terra Normal. You feel me?
Right. I mean that's literally what's happening. So you're doing this situation. I click Calm Mind here because I'm like, okay, if you're Terra Normal, I need to make sure that I get to +1/+1 so that stored power does 60% to you, and then I can revenge you with quick attack, with banded quick attack. But
what you don't know, it's my trump card.
Yeah, exactly. Your trump card is you just never Terra. So I'm like, okay, I guess I'll take it. I guess he was just trying to make some crazy read against me or something. I don't know.
This is one of those where I wish I could have seen you. I wish I could have seen your reaction and be like, what the fuck is going on here?
It makes me wonder if it's ever strategically advantageous in this meta, not that I would ever do it, to fake bluff your Terra type, to misdisclose your Terra type intentionally so your opponent plays differently around you. I don't know, I'm trying to think
I feel that would be cheating, because I feel that would be cheating because as Owen, the owner of the league, told me afterwards, it was very clear that I didn't do it on purpose, with the way I reacted. But I think if you do it intentionally, I think that's what constitutes as cheating.
Yeah,
because you are giving out.
Fascinating. It's very fascinating the mind games that it forced in that situation.
I will say this:
right?
I have seen a tendency every now and then that people Terra too soon.
100%. Yeah. I
Like
mean, we just saw
they
it with
at least as
Vids.
soon as they
Like,
get the chance to tear out, they do it, which you don't necessarily need to do. You need to figure out like what is the best tactical. Okay, that sounds like very military. What is the best like position wise where you can tear out and get benefit the most from it?
yeah, no, 100% agree. Like, especially in formats. I mean, this isn't a format like this, but especially in formats where you have like more than one Terra captain
Hmm.
on a draft or whatever, like it can be really useful to bring, more than one Terra captain into a team and just wait until you like really can pull it off at like a really opportune moment. And just force
Yeah.
as much mind games as you can. It's
Now,
interesting.
I have not done everything I can. Everything rides on this little righteous shoulders, and honestly, there
You've
was
positioned it decently. Like
there
there was
was
a
a
shot.
chance where this Raichu could have just went with it. There was a chance.
I'm obviously E-speed on Raikou and I'm Banded Quick Attack on Raptor. So I know from this position that I
Yeah,
won.
you know,
But
but I
if
don't know.
if if I didn't have that priority on the team, like this could have just won. Like it maybe a couple high rolls, some crits, like it genuinely could have.
Well, so
So
I also because I know because I check here how many electric train turns and whatnot I have. I actually
mhm.
end up going for Psyshock on this turn because I thought you were gonna switch into this and then switch into like Mach or
Right.
Raikou, trying to stall
Right.
out electric terrain. So I went for Psyshock on the like, all right, she's gonna switch because like I had to play as aggressively as I can. That's the
No,
only way I
I
can win here.
I probably would have made the same play. So that makes a lot of sense to me.
But you real
But
quick attack,
Banded
Raichu
Raptor
dies, and it didn't matter at all.
Banded Raptor just does like 70 to 80 with quick attack versus
I mean,
Raichu.
it is
It's
an
fucking
Alolan Raichu.
insane.
It is a little squishy mouse, so you know.
Yeah, it's a little squishy guy. But I will say, I mean, hats off to you. Freaking semifinals of the LTM. And what was cool is that all three European people in the league made semifinals. So,
Not
I
only
mean,
did
you were
all
a
three
huge part of that.
European, not only did all three European people do, the most Eastern American coach
Right, right.
also made
Because
semi.
Keegan was the other
Yeah,
semifinalist who's in North America, and he's like in like fucking, I don't know, what's East Canada?
I don't
Like
know, no
fucking
idea.
Prince Edward Island or whatever the fuck it's called. I don't even know.
But yeah,
Some weird
I
Canadian shit.
unfortunately suffer another loss, Daddies, and I'm 0-2, crying, you know,
Oh
begging,
no.
begging.
But we'll get our shot again at some point. I mean, I'll talk more at the end of the video about like the
Yeah,
future of Addison and Wi-Fi, but like I'm sure we will get an opportunity to play again.
yeah.
I,
So
I hope.
that means Addison moves on to the final where she will be facing.
I face Veps. I face opponents. I face Vepsis. No, Vepsis's team. I think people realized it from literally the get-go of the draft. Is incredible, and what I think something that Mountay especially connoisseured, and Vepsis will admit that he took inspiration from Mountay with this team, is he connoisseured, in my opinion, the best drafts in Gen 9 Wi-Fi, being the ones that are able to sort of partake in different modes. So if you remember Mountay's team from like PPL, he had the Unburdened mode, he had Webs mode, he had just Spectrier on its own, like being a whole like dedicated mode. And he had, I believe, like a dedicated Trick Room mode as well with Ursaluna. So there's all these different ways for different, I guess, game states, being Trick Room or Webs or Unburden, like to control the flow and the pace of the game. And Veps has modeled his low tier draft team under the same principles. So you have a psychic spam team with, in DD Armorouge, you have the Unburden with Halusha plus Terrain. You have a balance mode with those sort of middle three picks with the Mandibuzz, the Gastron, and the Revavroom. You have a full-on Sun mode with those bottom picks, and then you also have like Weather Ball Jolteon, which picks with that, and then Armor's also obviously benefits from Sun mode as well. So Veps has really drafted a team that is able to come in so many different modes, and you basically have to prep for those different types of styles of teams as like individual drafts. And I think most of Veps's opponents this entire season will tell you that that's what it felt like. I mean, I remember Owen was saying, like, his intro video against Vepsis for quarterfinals, that like he really felt like he was prepping for the Sun mode, he was prepping for the balance mode, and he was prepping for like the lucha end game mode. And there's always like constant number of things you have to like consider when you're prepping. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie, I didn't really stress too much about this because I, I think at a certain point, like I've made finals and there's a couple things that I just want to like be able to close the season out on. I'm still gonna go win. I'm still gonna try and like go for the chip, obviously. And this game is very winnable. Like I think this matchup's pretty decent for me. Obviously you have Gastrodon, which is one of the best Raikou checks and one of the best Blastoise checks. That's going to be a huge threat in the matchup. Not to mention everything else that I've just mentioned. But also, I want to make sure that I am giving the season as good of a send off as I can. So, going into this game, no matter what the matchup was, no matter who I was playing, I was saying I'm bringing Muck to this match because it has not come out of its ball this entire season.
That's true.
And
Even in our game, it did not come out of the ball
it
at
did
all.
not come out of its ball. So it needed to come out of its game. And this Muck is called Hit Me With Your Best Shot. That's what this Muck is called because it has two shot moves. It has Gunk Shot, which has good matchup versus Veps's team. And it has Mud Shot, which does pretty good at beating the Revenant Room, which is nice. And then Toxic is really nice because if Vepsis brings in something like Gastrodon, if I can Toxic the Gastrodon, that puts it on a timer for hopefully substitute Shell Smash Blastoise to still win in spite of a really bulky Gastrodon existing. And especially if I can get screens up, that would work really well. So this entire team is kind of centered around get rocks up early, break with Raptor, and try and get screens up with Raikou, since Raikou doesn't really have an offensive matchup this game. And try and win with the sub bulk up Grimmsnarl and the sub Shell Smash Blastoise. And ideally with screens up and behind a substitute, I will live hits behind a sub that I otherwise wouldn't, such as Earth Power from Gastrodon. I think like with this Blastoise roll, after I Shell Smash, if I'm behind a sub, I still don't die from Gastrodon's Earth Power, which is nuts.
One thing I want to quickly take note to is this Raikou is very physically offensive. 236
yes.
with Trailblaze.
Yes. I wanted to make sure that I was doing some damage to Gastrodon, and I know Raikou gets Trailblaze. I was thinking bringing it week 1 against Tone. I didn't end up doing it. And I figured, you know what? I kind of just need Screens plus Volt Switch. Trailblaze is probably fine. I didn't think that he would bring Rindo Berry this game. Maybe that's weird, but I kind of felt like Helmet was better for Raptor and Arcanine and some of the other stuff. And I kind of felt like if it wasn't going to be Helmet, it would be like Boots, or it would be Leftovers or Citrus Berry, which I know he's been bringing. I wasn't really expecting Rindo Berry to come, so I felt like Trailblaze was pretty good. And then Banded Raptor, like the one flying resist on the entire team is Revavroom, and Revavroom gets 2 KO'd by a Banded Brave Bird, unless it's like physically defensive, in which case it gets 2 KO'd by like close combat sometimes. So it's pretty good mon here. And that's pretty much it. I mean, Banded Quick Attack is also really nice into Lucha as well to stop that. I think it's pretty good. So ultimately, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I see you went with Terra Steel, which into the Lucha Amaru seems very interesting. Can you tell a little bit about why you went Steel?
So I'm not gonna lie, to be honest with you, I actually didn't think Mesprit's Terra looked very good this game. I actually thought that like pure Psychic type was the best possible type for it, and I probably would have done Terra Psychic if I had a Psychic move on it, but I don't. So originally I was Terra Dark, just to like say, okay, fuck it, I'll like get some boosted knockoffs or whatever. But last minute I changed it to Terra Steel, just on the random off chance that he like goes for some like weird, bizarre, like early game shift gear Revavroom, and with Levitate, like I should be able to wall like Iron Head, High Horsepower, Gong Shot. I didn't really expect a Terra Mesprit this game, to be honest with you. I think in hindsight, maybe there were more like Terras I could have toyed around with, but I was really just keen on keeping my Psychic type around because I was worried about like Acid Armor Body Press Gudra. I wanted to make sure that I had like a mon that was good for that. I was worried about like, Halucha, like you said, I didn't want to like lose my fighting resist. So I really liked what Mesprit was offering in general, just with its type in general. But Terra Steel also does wall like Indeedee, you know what I mean? So that at least helped a little bit.
Yeah.
But I wasn't
it
really
lost
planning
mystical
on tearing
fires.
it. Yeah, exactly. And then like I think the other like last thing to note is like I think Vepsis also simultaneously was kind of like season's been fun. Like let's make it a fun time. So um we sort of half jokingly said, okay, well I'll bring Muck, you bring Charizard because he's only brought Charizard once this season.
Yeah.
But we never promised it to each other. It was kind of just like a joke. But I followed through. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do Muck. So you'll see if he brings Charizard or not.
Let's see if.
Um, and also for context, I don't know if I mentioned this. We played this 2 days after we played our semifinals match.
Just 2 days. Wow. Okay, that I did
Just
not know.
2 days. Yeah, we literally
I,
prepped like the day before and just went for it.
yeah. I also want to quickly say this is the only game out of all these that I did not know that I do not know the result of. Like Addy has not told anyone.
Yeah, no, I haven't told a single person. So we'll see.
I'm a viewer like everyone else here.
Yeah, but you see, Vepsis has a very interesting team here. Like I don't know what the hell is up with this weakness policy Torkoal.
Okay,
but
tell me
tricking.
that is Shell Smash weakness policy. I'm here for it.
I like when I saw it, like, and you'll see he leads with it. I was like, is this Shell Smash? Am I about to get fucked? I was like, what is happening?
I mean, that turn needs a plus.
Charizard.
It needs like +6 speed to outspeed Raikou, but yeah.
For sure, for sure. Well, he doesn't bring Charizard, so ultimately, even if I lose this game, I got the moral win.
Yeah, you won. You won.
I won morally, and that's what's important here. Vepsis also has a habit, especially when we play in like playoff games, of bringing like super like fast Choice Scarf Mons against me, and Scarf Lucha is no exception. And that's gonna outspeed my Shell Smash Blastoise, so that's a little annoying. But yeah, we got a lead Mesprit.
You have your usual lead Mesprit as always, I feel like.
I mean, it's not a huge. I mean, it is kind of a usual lead Mesprit, but in this case, like it was quite literally like I just want rocks up. That's literally it. I maybe could have had like room for a more offensive Mesprit this week, but I really felt like it was my best hazard setter, and I felt like rocks were so good here. And yeah, the early burn kind of sucks. I do knock off the weakness policy, and I'm like utterly confused here. I probably should have just gotten rocks up, to be honest with you. But that's okay. Knocking off like Torkoal actually helps me like just get a better understanding of what it is. And if it switches out, then it's going to be,
yeah. Also, I was about to say, I think because of the way he's playing the turtle right now, I think knockoff actually was maybe the correct play, because getting rid of it means if it switches out, because you always gonna take like an attack from this Torkoal no matter what, right?
Yeah.
So if it switches out, now it's taking rocks damage and it wants to come in. And as we saw in the team builder, you have Encore, so you can also prevent him from spinning, which is very, very important.
I loved that play here because I know that the rest of my team is so offensive. I don't think Torkoal is going to get an opportunity to spin on anything.
Yeah.
So, like, I was pretty happy with how this turned out, and I was actually kind of just worried that I knew he would stay and just click Lava Plume here. I was worried that if I just click Knockoff, that like I wouldn't be in a great situation. So I just clicked Pain Split to make sure I live one more time. But the downside to this play is that it means Encore might end next turn, or I think 2 turns from now. So I don't want to like sack this and then go into something that lets Torkoal spin, because I want to keep Grox up. So I make a really interesting play here, one that I'm still not sure if it's a good play or not. I actually go into Blastoise. I have the Lumberry, so I guard against Burn, and I guard against like
as you said, he is still Anchored for now, so you know it's Lava Plume coming out. Like it's not a random Solar Beam on the prediction.
Exactly, and to be honest, like it just basically means that I can go into Blastoise here. Like maybe he'll burn my item, which would suck, because he got the burn last time as well. And he does. He gets 2 first turn burns. Well done. What's this?
Good old Serene Grace Torkoal.
I know, exactly. But the sun's gone. So like he's threatened out by a Surf. Encore's gone. And I just have to Surf here.
But you also
I want to prevent this from spinning.
I was about to say, you have to make the decision here if you want to go for Surf, so he guaranteed does not get the spin, or you could go for Substitute. But the problem is if you go for the sub and he does spin, unfortunately you lose the rocks.
Exactly, and I don't really feel like sub gets me much, except like loses me health, which I just don't really want right now. So I just feel like I go for damage, I check intentions, and like him going Gudra is like pretty decent for me because it's just damage. and I like that. Like it works out pretty decently for me.
Yeah, and I don't think we saw leftovers, right? I didn't like pay attention.
No, and hey, Muck
He's
shows
out.
up.
He's out.
He's here. This is like decent too, because like Muck like looks pretty good here. I should mention this is Terra Steel, Armrouge, which kind of like really made me sad because it meant that like it kind of hard walls Muck. Like it means I can't gunk shot it.
No, but
I can
you
only
had
hit it with
much.
like
You had at least had
you're right,
much. You can do
which
something.
hits for like 30%. It can do something. So
Well, hey, it's
I
speed
kind of
control.
want to get Muck. Yeah, that's true. I just want to get Muck in early though, so I can just damage it. Is kind of the idea. But I actually make a read here predicting Rev Room to come in. I just go for Mudshot because I thought Rev Room might come in here. So
Yeah.
it works out because it allows me to kill the Torkoal and like win the Hazard War. It means I get to keep rocks up, which is huge. But it also means that he's going to be able to get his Terra off here, which is messed up.
When he's gonna pop the meteor, he's thinking about popping the meteor beam immediately, which is interesting.
He is, yeah. It is interesting.
Like,
I mean, what's interesting about him not clicking Meteor Beam here is I can still think that he might be Specs or Scarf
yeah, exactly.
here. So him clicking Psyshock really works out for me because I think that the Desperate Sack is obvious. Like I've kept rocks up. I'm not really going to get to Pain Split against much else. Like I think just you know sacking this makes the most sense. But it lets him get his Terra up, which is going to make Muck have a little tougher of a time. It's also going to make Grimsnarl have a bit tougher of a time because I can only hit this with like Sucker Punch, and it's going to also make it so Raptor has a hard time locking into stuff too. Yeah.
Yeah, because like if you lock Brave Bird at double edge, which of course are the 2 stabs, he just goes into his Amrose afterwards after you maybe kill something, and then he kills something pretty much.
Yeah, that's right. So I'm ready to get my screens up. I know the Gastron's coming in here, and I've like made both Grimsnarl and Blastoise to take advantage of this Gastron behind screens. That's what I'm trying to do here. So what I need to do first, however, is I need to threaten this Gastron out because I can't go hard into Blastoise or Grimmsnarl. So I'm just gonna go hard into Raptor because I don't think there's anything that like this thing clicks that threatens Raptor right away, especially if I'm a late screen. Like Ice Beam's not gonna do much. And I can be even bolder and click CC here because I don't think he wants to let this thing go. Now, I will say this is kind of like a little bit of a fuck it play. Like, I don't know if I would have made this play if I was like live comming this game, which I know is a weird thing to say, but like literally I was just in the moment, like I was just saying in my head, I'm like, you know what, fuck it, I'll just CC. And I think when I live com, I tend to like think through these things a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I probably would have clicked Raybird here. So in a way, not live comming kind of like makes this work out for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think it also circles back to what you said is like you don't think the Gastron has a move that like immediately threatens Staraptor. So by him not taking an attacking move on the previous turn, going for close combat is like kind of safe in a sense. Because as you said, you don't think he's gonna have a move that will do a lot of damage to Staraptor.
For sure. Yeah, this is just a situation of me just kind of like being able to like really think through like what he has and saying, okay, CC is a relatively safe click here because I don't think that he wants to give me damage on Gastrodon. But it was much easier to think that through in my head than it would in a live com, which worked out for me. Now here's a strange situation because I don't really have a great switch in for this. Like this is real to be like max HP, max defense based on that damage because I'm Bandit's Raptor. This is probably the best case scenario, me switching in this on Toxic instead of like a Gunk Shot or something. And it's gonna let me get like a screen up, which is lovely. And he doesn't want to go into Gastron here because it will threaten Raptor to come back out, and now he doesn't have a switch into Raptor. So going Goodra might be a better option for him.
Yeah. And like Goodra is like is of course gonna take like any hit Raikou wants to go for. So he's trying to like find a way where he can position, because you're kind of in the control a little bit right now. So he's trying to find a position where he can get a little bit of the momentum back on his side, I think.
Yeah, no, I feel very much in control at this point in the game, and I think it's a smart move to go Goodra because he knows I'm never gonna Volt Switch with Gastron in the back. But also simultaneously, like I, can get my screen up pretty safely.
Now this Gastron is very like, it's interesting because he's clearly trying to predict the Volt Switch here, I think. Like at least that's what I'm gonna assume, not being able to hear him, of course. Because I feel like you vol switching here definitely was a possibility. What's your reason for hard switching over vol
My
switch?
reason for hard switching is quite literally this play here. It was I don't want him to go into Gastron and catch my
Yeah,
Volt Switch and me take more rocks damage and waste screens. I just want to go Grimstar right away. I am sub Spadef Bulk Up. I live even Sludge Bomb behind a light screen. So I'm just gonna go for it. I'm just gonna click substitute, and I have Spirit Break on this set too. So even when the light screen fades out, I'll be able to live behind the sub. This critting sucks. Like that
yeah,
sucks because I'm on a timer with light screen turns, and what I could have done is I could have lived that hit, gone for Spirit Break to force damage on this, and then started bulking up on a forced recover, which would
yeah.
have been
Now
really nice
he's
for
like,
me.
okay, there's one turn of light screen left.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
now
mean, you
you
go
know
for the sub, of course. Yeah,
this thing's still going to threaten his team. Like it's a strong mon into him, and he's going to see that like it doesn't break the sub. But I do wish I could have had that one extra turn. But like that is what it is. You know what I mean? Like it's just mons. And I'm still in a great position. I'm still in a prime position. And with Spirit Break here, yes, he'll break my sub this turn, but he won't break my sub next turn.
yeah, exactly. Like basically, the Spirit Break is basically becoming what the light screen were representing before.
Exactly, and especially since this thing has taken some damage now because of taking the Spirit Break damage. I can sub again, and if he switches out, that's damage he hasn't recovered. Like that's damage he cannot recover, which is good for me.
And I think he also has to start thinking about what if this is like sub bulk up. Like I can't let this get too out of hand, you know?
No, he can't. And that's I think what he's eyeing here. And it's tough. it's very much tough. I am back and forth. Do I want to bulk up here? Do I want to just attack? I decided I just want to attack because if this thing is like Sludge Bomb, obviously I don't want to get too KO'd.
That Spirit Break still did a lot, despite him just going plus damage, 2.
Yeah.
Like he just got the plus 2 with Asam, and that still did like 30-ish, some 34-ish%, I think.
He'll live another because of the citrus berry. But you'll see hilariously here, this doesn't actually break the sub even at plus 2 because it's canceling out with the light screen or with the reflect. So that's pretty good.
You are becoming the slowest Grimstone in all the land, though.
I am, but I'm about to reveal that I can still preserve my sub this turn because, luckily, this Gudra is just barely in range of Sucker Punch. So I'm taking the time to calc and make sure. And I say, you know what, Sucker Punch is very risk-free. Let's click it here. And now I'm behind a sub.
Exactly.
I'm the slowest Grimstar of all time, but I'm behind a sub, which is lovely.
Yeah, and the reason Sucker Punch is so free here is because if he clicks anything that's not an attacking move, you still preserve the sub.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like my position here quite a bit because he can pretty much, I mean, he has to go into this thing. Arguably, he should have gone into it in the first place. He doesn't know my full set. Like, I could be a ground move here, and he just kind of has to hope that I'm not. And I'm not. So that's fair.
I don't think, does Grimstone get a ground move?
It gets Stomping Tantrum, which is nice. I go for Sucker Punch here. I just want to get as much damage on this as I can. And I was kind of just hoping, I don't know why, I was kind of just hoping that would like 2 KO. I think it does. But what I should have done here is I should have honestly just switched. Like this thing still had a lot of usage. I could still have like subbed up on Gastrodon if I got screens back up. Yeah. And I kind of just get trigger happy. This is another case of me just kind of like not live coming and playing this quick with kind of just in my head. Is like I kind of just get trigger happy and I'm like, I think you're just gonna attack me, and I click Sucker Punch and I kind of forget that like, oh yeah, this thing can just toxic me here. And it's just a big misplay on my end. Like this basically makes this Grimmsnarl not as useful as it was. I mean, Grimmsnarl was probably the most valuable member of my team one turn prior, and is now probably the least valuable member of my team because it's toxic and I can't do any substitute shenanigans anymore. So I'm at this point just like, all right, well, I'll claim my kill if he gets me again, and I'm just like, okay, I need to slow down because I've just played this game really well. I've just forced damage on this Gudra. I've just forced damage, or I've just killed the Gudra and I've forced damage on Gastrodon. And now, because I've misplayed these last two turns, you know, the Rev Room stays alive, and the Gastrodon can recover. So I'm back in this situation where, yeah, I just give him that health, which I definitely should not have done. I mean, I still feel like I'm in a good position. I do, because I have still the Muck with Custap Berry, which should be able to take on any kind of Hawlucha. I still have Shell Smash Blastoise, so if this thing gets chipped just a little bit, I should just win with Shell Smash Blastoise in my eyes. Yes, there's Scarf Hawlucha, but, you know, I have defensive checks.
I think it's interesting you never went for bulk up at any point.
I think so too. It's just like the situation never called for it, strangely enough. But at the very least, like, I can condition an Earthquake here and go into Raptor and like save Grimmsnarl a sack.
So when you say condition an Earthquake, why exactly? Because this thing has already really had Sludge Bomb, right? Which Sludge Bomb very much would have taken out the Grimmsnarl from where it was, I think. Close to at least. So why did you not think that he was going to click Sludge Bomb?
I think he could have clicked Sludge Bomb as well. I just don't think I was going to take like any damage from it with Raptor. So I wasn't worried about it clicking Sludge Bomb either, because it would have done like 25%. I thought Earthquake was probably a bit more likely.
I still think from Vips' size, clicking Sludge Bomb there is probably the slightly better play, just because, like, at least you get a little bit of chip on Raptor, and then if you go River Room on the following turn, as he did, you get the Rocky Helmet and you get the what's it called, the recoil from Brave.
Yeah, for sure. I think Sludge Bomb was probably quite a viable play. I mean, also bear in mind that it was -1, so he was going to do less damage with it because it was Spirit Breaked. So I think based on that, he was just more likely to click Earthquake in that situation. But I understand why he could have Sludge Bombs there. Either way, yeah. I went Raptor knowing that I was never dead to either hit.
That's fair.
And I go this because I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's Scarf. I don't know if it's SD. I'm EV'd to live 2 hits from it. If it clicks SD, I'm EV'd to get put in Custap range. This is a very tricky situation, obviously, because I really feel like I should win this game here, right? And I can click Mud Shot on Armrouge potentially coming in here. That would be pretty cool. I could click Gunk Shot just to try and like claim damage. I could pull it double potentially is another option. I know that this thing like might be locked in, and I have a lot of plays that I could make here.
Yeah, we're definitely getting to that point where one wrong move and you probably your opponent just takes it, right?
Yes, but I also think I'm in a commanding position. Like I think I'm like 70-80% winning right now. I just need to make sure that I don't flub it. So I go into Raikou thinking, okay, I don't think you're going to go into Gastrodon. I don't think you're going to risk taking damage on it. I don't think you're going to risk, like, you know, letting it get toxic or whatever. I think either you stay in and click Brave Bird and you're locked into Brave Bird and Raikou takes it, or you go into Armrouge and I can use that as an opportunity to get up my screens again. And in my mind, if I can get up my screens again, then Shell Smash Blastoise has a chance to win. If I can kill Gastrodon / claim chip on it.
I was about to say, you need to whittle that Gastrodon down for Blastoise to actually like win.
Yes, but like I mentioned in the team builder, if I'm behind a sub and light screen is up, I still don't get, or actually if Reflect is up and I'm behind a sub, then Earthquake doesn't break my sub. So I'm trying to get in a position where I can still go behind a screen in front of Gastrodon, and then hopefully it will allow me to just like spam Ice Beam, was kind of like my idea. But in a perfect world, I can position Muck to like get a Toxic off, so, you know, that way it doesn't matter. Or I can like try and like Trailblaze the Gastrodon, and that would have been a good situation for me as well, to just get it in range of like a +2 Ice Beam. I, of course, have no idea this thing is Rindo. I didn't see Rindo coming this game, although since it hasn't revealed Helmet, since it hasn't revealed Leftovers, since it hasn't revealed Citrus, I guess I should start considering that it could be Rindo Berry.
Yeah. Like not seeing an item at any point, yeah, then you have to like go, okay, what is an item that doesn't show, but is still viable in a sense? And Resist Berries are typically the first one that comes to mind.
Yeah, exactly. So thankfully like keeping the Grimstar around and going hard into Raptor against the um the Gastron saves me a bit here because I'm able to pull the sack into Grimsnarl, which allows him to bring him on, and then I can sort of
Yeah,
decide
and you
what to
can now
do.
position yourself. So you see Gastron here, you know, okay, I need a little bit of chip, a little bit on this Gastron. So what is your like? What is your thought process? Like, how are you gonna play it out from here? You think?
So my thought process here is Raptor forces damage no matter what.
Hmm.
So I can't go Raikou because Trailblaze doesn't kill, and I'll just die to Earthquake. I can't go Blastoise because I don't have this conditioned enough, or I don't have the Gastrodon in a position where Shell Smash can win. And I can't go Muck here yet because Muck still lives one Lucha hit and gets in Cuss Out range, and like that's pretty scary. So if you pause here, actually, this is like a really important turn of the game.
All right.
I can make one of two plays here. I can either click Brave Bird. Brave Bird will kill me and kill the Gastron if it stays in. And that's great for me. If that happens, then I think Blastoise just wins because it means that Blastoise can Shell Smash up and Surf and KO the two things. If I can get behind Reflect, then even if Hawlucha is Scarfed, which it is, I don't need to worry about dying because behind a Reflect with Shell Smash, I'm still effectively at +1 defense.
Yeah.
Yeah, Blastoise lives that hit. So let me put it this way: Gastrodon dies, Blastoise wins. Bottom line. So then here's another question: will he, because I would think he would know this, go into Armarouge
Yeah, trying to proc the
on
weak
the
armor,
Brave
yeah.
Bird, trying to proc the weak armor
Yeah.
since he's Terra Steel? And if he does that, what's my next course of action? And to me, I'm looking at the situation. I'm saying, I don't think he can let this Gastron go down because if he lets it go down to Brave Bird, Blastoise win. He can go into Armarouge and potentially get the weak armor from the Brave Bird. And if he gets the weak armor from the Brave Bird, what it's going to do essentially is it's going to force me to burn my cost out. What I think I fail to realize in this moment is, from his perspective, he doesn't know that I'm cussed up on Muck. So if he's trying to win with weak armor, what he realistically could do is he could just sack this and then well, no, because I would die. So it's kind of a weird situation. Like, do I Brave Bird and trade 1-for-1 with this, or do I CC? And to me, I'm looking at this game state and I'm saying, like, if I click Brave Bird, no matter what, I'm dead. The
Yeah.
only mon that he can get weak armor on for the rest of this game is this Raptor. So this is his opportunity to go into Armarouge and get weak armor off. So he outspeeds my team and can Meteor Beam and do his fun little Meteor Beam things. So I think bottom line, I think he's going into Armarouge. And
With
to
that in
me, I'm
mind,
saying, yeah, I don't think that he will stay in. But he does, and I click Cause Combat, predicting the Armarouge to come in, and he clicks Recover, which is really bad. It's really
yeah,
bad.
because now he can go into probably Hawlucha, right?
Yeah. So this is a literal turn where no, I mean he doesn't necessarily need to go into Hawlucha. Like he can just like recover spam, or he could just kill me here. Because I can't really revenge very well here because he's Rindo.
Well,
Which
so
kind of sucks.
I think so. In my perspective, with what he just did, he is now making himself weak to that Blastoise you talking about. Because while you said, yeah, you killed the Gastron and Blastoise win, but that also means that Gastron is low, Blastoise wins. Because like,
Well, that was kind of my thought process. Was even if I get this play wrong, even if he stays in with Gastrodon, surely Banded Close Combat does enough to get it in range of Blastoise.
yeah, and that's what I meant with I thought he should have gone Hawlucha on the second close combat. Because he would have
Right.
had a healthy Gastron, he would have had Hawlucha in on Staraptor, which, as we know, is Choice Scout and is faster.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with that, but he doesn't. And here I'm like, all right, well, at least Trailblaze revenges. And this is where it gets tricky because this is me not really considering Rindo as an option. Obviously, Rindo Berry is a very common item on Gastrodon, but if you look at my draft, like, yes, I have like Abomasnow, yes, I have Whimsicott, but I really don't feel like either of them justify having Rindo Berry. So I just kind of assume it isn't, even though like it hasn't revealed other options. I just assume it isn't, and the Trailblaze doesn't kill, and he gets the recover off, and this puts me in a pretty bad position, like a really bad position. Arguably, what I could have done is I could have gone into Blastoise there and just Shell Smashed right away. That was an option. But I really thought, Trailblaze might kill. Now this is another interesting turn because the game's not over yet. The game, I can still very easily win this game potentially. If you could pause it here, I will be a little bit more quick with my explanation. So my Raikou set is the following. It is Trailblaze, Volt Switch, dual screens. Both screens are up. I have no use in clicking screens again. But Trailblaze procs Weak Armor, which I don't want. And Volt Switch forces me into Muck or Blastoise, which I don't want. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, what I probably should do is I should probably click a screen again, let him kill me, and then I die to poison. And then since screens are up, I'll try and set up Shell Smash with Blastoise. That was my mentality at this point in the game. What I kind of failed to realize is that like it doesn't really win me the game because Blastoise can't win from here with Gastrodon. My only way of like really like potentially doing it is to click Volt Switch here, go into Muck, and hope the combination of Volt Switch plus Custap Berry Mudshot Muck kills the Armarouge. And I realized this actually this turn, but I don't realize it in time if you want to play it.
One thing I will say though is in this situation with what you're saying here, you also have to account for if you click Psyshock or not. Because like if you click Psyshock and you get a Volt, you're faster than the Armarouge right now because you have the +1 from Trailblaze. So if you click Psyshock on the incoming Muck, then you just lose Muck. Like it is no.
And bear in mind, I don't know if this is specs or not. Like,
that's the thing. That's what I was like kind of getting into. Like you don't know, like this Armarouge you haven't seen enough of to truly know what item and what kind of set we're thinking here.
And I was tunnel visioned on specs. Since light screen is up, if I volt switched into Muck, I would have lived the Psyshock. But I didn't do it because I just assumed it was specs. And this thing clicks Power Meteor Beam. It's gonna kill my Raikou.
Now it's basically specs.
now it's basically specs. So I can't go into Muck anymore because I can't kill it. So I basically just have to go into Blastoise and Hail Mary, hope that he doesn't have Energy Ball or Thunderbolt or whatever, and just go for Shell Smash here. That's my play, and I just have to hope that it puts me in a great situation. Unfortunately, he does have the Energy Ball, as you can see, and I'm just gonna die.
So even with light screen up, it unfortunately does take.
Even with light screen up, it's that Torkoal damage that I took earlier in that game. Otherwise, I may have had a fighting chance. But I felt really weird after this game. Like obviously, like I mentioned, like you'll see me just go for the cust out for the shits and giggles. Obviously, like we didn't take it super seriously for a finals game. Like we played it 2 weeks after the semifinals. We both just want to have a good one. And I will say this was probably one of the better matches Bepsis and I have ever had in our careers in terms of just like good game, wasn't very scuffed, etc. I think I'm just frustrated at myself because obviously it is a championship game, and I feel like on two separate instances, the two instances that we paused on, both with the Brave Bird and the close combat play with Raptor, and then the like Volt Switch into Cussed Out Muck play, I think I had two routes where I had a much better chance at clinching a win than the plays that I made in the moment. That being said, I'm not gonna like harp on it and be like, oh my god, like fucking how dare I like not make those plays, like the game was so easy to win or whatever. Like this is Mons, and especially this is why like YPI is tough compared to other like Showdown. I'm not going to say one is easier than the other, but this is why some people struggle on one and some people struggle on the other. The time pressure is insane, and I realized both of those plays, 90 seconds after I was supposed to make them, but I only had 60 seconds to do it.
Mm.
And you know, that's just the nature of the game that we're playing and the meta that we're playing. So
Yeah,
I have
and
all love to this match, and ultimately, like, I in hindsight I see all the things I could have done to checkmate it, and I just couldn't think of it in time, and that's just how it goes.
yeah, definitely. Like I think so 60 seconds to a lot of people sounds like a lot of time. But when you're in the game and you have to do like both think about what your play is, but you also have to like do damage calc to figure out like what your opponent's set is. That time disappears very fast. Like I've definitely had the situation where I've watched someone play and I've been like, why are you not just doing this? Like when I'm sitting on the sideline and I don't have to play,
Yeah,
I feel like
yeah.
the time is going slow. But when you're in a game, those 60 seconds they go fast.
They go super fast, and ultimately, like, it's the same reason why he was struggling to deal with my Grimsnarl early game. Like, he was under a lot of time pressure to figure out how to deal with it. Did he make the best plays to deal with my Grimsnarl? Absolutely not. But he was under that time pressure. He was calculating to figure out what my set was. And you have to do that all in real time while still trying to figure out what your next play is and think forward to what your end game is. And that's
Mm.
why the time pressure of Wi-Fi is so tough. And even if I was in a situation, you know, most into that game, uh, that I was in a winning situation, it ended up being still the case that, like, I couldn't figure out how to close it in time, and that just is what it is. And I am still very proud of the way the season went. Obviously, like, uh, under such circumstances, making finals, I'm quite proud of that achievement. I don't think this is one of my better teams I've drafted, and I again still made it to finals, and I'm quite happy with it. And, you know, since this whole laptop situation is this whole laptop situation, I don't think I'm going to be playing Wi-Fi anytime soon. I'm definitely going to be trying to pursue more of like the showdown tournament scene and see how I fare in that scene a bit more. And maybe it will help me brush up on my end games and help me, you know, play a little bit better moving forward. But showdown versus Wi-Fi, they're completely different, and they both take completely different skill sets. And I think this is a game that really exemplifies, you know, the reality that in both of those situations, both of those two turns that I had the ability to win the game, if I just had a little bit more time, I'm confident I would have gotten there, but I just didn't have that time, and that is what it is, you know. And I think just people should put a lot more respect on the Wi-Fi scene for that reason. And if that's going to be my ending message before I kind of bow out from Wi-Fi for a little bit to go play some Showdown, I'll stand by it. I think it's very real, and I think it's very fair. So much respect to everyone. I know there's going to be so many exciting Wi-Fi projects coming up that I'll get to cheer on from the sidelines, and hopefully you all will be able to as well. And I'm very honored to have been a part of it during this part of the gen, and hopefully I'll be able to make a return at some point soon. But at the very least, I'm just very grateful that I was able to wrap up this season. Thanks to you, Thomas. Thank you so much for putting this together. I know this is like a ridiculous amount of like time and efforts on your behalf,
I
and
mean, hey, as I
I
said in the
really
beginning, I'm
appreciate
paid by the minute, so you know.
it.
Like
Yeah, I'm going broke.
I'm watching this, you know, little dollar count I have on the side just go up and up and up. So that's fine.
Hell yeah.
You know, I
So
mean,
anyway,
I
I
was
will. Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to quickly say I was happy we could do this because like I think getting your final thoughts out is it's part of like and kind of a little bit as what you said where the difference in Wi-Fi and Showdown is. The reason we also play Wi-Fi is because we also want to show, you know, we want to show the stuff
Yeah,
to some of the people and whatnot. So getting this little bit of like a final video, getting all of it out and getting to show your games and whatnot is part of it.
yeah, no, absolutely. And I'm just stoked. I'm stoked for the future. I'm stoked for future of Wi-Fi, and I'm grateful to be a part of it always. And yeah, in terms of people who are fans of my channel, like from here on out, like hopefully I have a laptop on the way soon, like a better laptop, that will give me the capacity to stream. It's going to be secondhand, so we'll see how it ends up performing. But at the very least, I'll try and stream a little bit. Maybe I'll do more of these. I'll do like showdown versions of like the movies if people are interested
Hmm.
in them, and we'll go from there. But for now, this will be my my last Wi-Fi endeavor for a little while. And I'm satisfied with that. I'm at peace with that. So thank you all for all the support throughout the season, and for the seasons past that we've done. Ultimately, you know what? Like I played in 3 Gen 9 Wi-Fi leagues. I made semifinals my first one, I won my second one, and I made finals my third one. I'd say that's pretty fucking good. Just saying. So I'm quite satisfied.
Yeah. But I guess with that, we are heading out. This is of course Addie's video, so I'll let her have the last word. But I'm just thankful she would have me, and hope you enjoyed the
Yes,
video.
please go check out Thomas. Please, like, yeah, I swear to God, if you've watched this entire video and you haven't like gone check out Thomas' channel and like subbed him and like followed all his draft league content, you fucking better do it now because I will fight you if you don't. So, yeah, please go give Thomas some love and go give love to all the coaches who participated in the LTM this season. It was a lot of fun, and ultimately, even if it was a weird season for me for sure. I thoroughly enjoyed the matches, and yeah, have nothing but love and appreciation for everyone who ran it. So thanks to Owen, to Panther, to Obo, and yeah, good luck to everyone moving forward. That's it. I'll stop rambling. Love you all, and I will see you all sometime soon, hopefully.